Hello, Flosstube. Um, this is Beth, and we're back for, I think this is Flosstube number 5. I decided not to keep it all on one. I think it's easier to load if I have two little bits. And we're still working on Inchies by Rees, and I'm going to show you how to do a Scotch stitch. That's our next square. But right here, you can see I finished that woven section. And I want to, hopefully going to move that, make it too seasick. And we're going to work in this area here. Okay. So we're using neon rays in this square, and it's all Scotch stitch. But it's the neon, so Scotch stitch is not a difficult stitch. It's kind of like the mosaic stitch you did in the second block. But using neon rays is kind of a bear. Remember, I don't know how many of you took the group class we did, I think it was a couple years ago, where we made a little scissors fob. And our president gave us all a little bit of neon rays to play with. So neon rays is a rayon stitch. It's beautiful. It's shiny, but it's kind of, but it comes off the card, and you can see it has those bumps. Some people have, suggest taking a little bit of damp cloth and wiping it down. But I like using, if you can see that, a flat iron. So I don't cut it. I clamp it in and gently iron it out. I'm going to turn my iron off. It's not going to turn off. And I'm going to cut my piece of thread. Now, as you can see, I didn't do a huge long piece. It's probably a little bit longer than 14 inches, or right around there. I'm actually going to give myself a little length. And the reason is this is incredibly difficult to stitch with. Now, I know that if you look at your chart, the first thread, if you look at A4 on page number 5, again, I'm stitching upside down, so turn your chart upside down. If you're going to start in the, it's going to be the top left, you would be using the, I can't think of the name of the thread, and I love it. It's beautiful. Silk lame. It's one of your silk lames, and that's a beautiful thread. And I would start with that one normally, but I want to keep this video short, so I don't want to show you silk lame and then do the neon rays. I'm just going to move right to the neon rays, which is the next one over. So I put a knot in, counting over 2. You have 2 blanks, and then for the first Scotch stitch, there's 3. 1, 2, 3. So hopefully you will put those in. Now my next section of stitches are going to be right in here, and then go diagonally. So I'm going to guesstimate and put a waist knot there. Now I'm going to have to recount. 2, 1, 2, 3. And then my first stitch is going to be right coming up here. But that's not what I'm going to do. I am going to put, because neon rays is so slippery and it will come out, I'm going to, I look at my stitch, I see how wide my room is. I come up here, and I'm going to do a little L. And I don't know if you can see it, but I can see my thread diagonally across there. So I'm going to go straight up and down, and then holding it tight, I'm going to kind of go and push the thread underneath, so I'm catching it and going across. That thread is less likely to come out. Now I'm going to make sure I'm in the right spot again. 1, 2, 2 blanks. 1, 2, 3. All right, my first scotch. Move that out of the way. Okay, got my Takabari and my laying tool. I've come up, I'm holding it flat. Okay, it's twisting a little bit. I'm kind of manipulating it underneath with my fingers, holding it flat and going down. That's one stitch. I'm holding it tight underneath, and technically you should try to keep the front and the bottom the same size, you know, nice and flat. And I might have too big of a needle on, and that might be a problem, because I can tell I'm not going to like those holes. But I guess when I lay my silk lame in there, it'll fill it up. So 3, keeping them flat, and then you're going to go up. That kind of popped. See, even now I can tell my thread is a little bit long. And one more. And making sure I kind of manipulate the thread underneath so it's being caught by this last stitch. Okay, there it is. My first scotch stitch. Then there's another one right here that's in the neon rays, and I actually would go down and do that one. Moving across. And then you do there's a scotch stitch here, and then there's one up, and then, you know, and work it. Since I've got this threaded, I would do that. Now then, if you look at the instructions, make sure you read your instructions. She gives you good, nice detail. Okay, she says, on the far right and bottom row of 10 stitches are stitched with watercolor 1. And this is where it says, manipulate your watercolors and use a part to contrast with the other threads in the square. So, I didn't show you this, but on my red, white, and blue, I did, so this is the neon rays we just stitched. I just use floss. I don't remember what that is. I think it's called Razzle. But you'll notice that I think is my watercolors. But so whatever color you decide to put in here in this little section, oops, I hope that's enough. I hope you can see that. So neon rays, floss, okay. So whatever color you decide to put in here, make sure you want it to complement, to look well. You know, she said it could be, you know, to contrast with whatever you have down in there. And so just use your best judgment. Cut off a section that you like and stick it in there, and it should be fine. This square will take you a little time, but it shouldn't be too bad. And then one more thing before I forget, and I've been meaning to say this for a while. You will have the option, when you're done, of filling in around all the squares. You can leave it blank. Blank canvas is not considered a bad thing. But I know when I did my red, white, and blue, I had originally thought I was going to leave it blank. And obviously, I didn't. I used a slanted Goblin and then Smyrna crosses around with little white to add a little bit of difference. You should be kind of thinking about that. If you go and you do a Google search of, I think it's called Color Waves, but I'm not sure, by Kathy Rees. But if you go, some people, and it's a very rainbowy piece. Some people do it where they do the outline in white, or they'll do the outline in black. But as you stitch, your choices as you go and the way you manipulate your threads will make a difference. Right now, I'm leaning towards a really, either a very dark purple or maybe, I don't know. But right now, I'm really seriously considering a dark purple. But you won't know. You won't know until you get a lot further along on this, but you should kind of be formulating in the back of your mind, because I did use floss because that's what I had. I think by the time I got to the border, we were in quarantine, and I was not about to order flosses in, so I used what I had. You should have enough, like a watercolor, to go around, but to me it's like you're matting the piece, so you want to think about a solid, I would think. So again, when we get to that point, we can talk about it. Hopefully we can meet in person, or you can shoot me a picture and we can discuss it. You could actually send it to Kathy, and she gives very nice suggestions. She was the one who helped me when I discussed mine. I know I used several stitches. I did that because I wanted the texture between. Anyway, I hope this is helpful. If you have any questions, and then if you have any, I didn't, because I kind of cut off on the woven one. If you have questions about the woven, let me know. Send me an email, and I will try to help you with that. And even if I have to restitch it, find a bigger piece of linen, and I just do the whole square really slow and just stitch the whole thing again for you, I will do that. And hopefully you'll find that helpful. Until we meet again.